Is it possible that nearly all who have ever lived could have rejected the reason why they were created? Is it possible that most have been in disagreement with why they were created? It is not only possible, it is a reality. And it is a reality that had to be. It is a byproduct of the free will that our Creator had to give us in order to accomplish that which He purposed. Satan and his crew had to be put here on earth in order for Yahweh to build His temple in the manner that He desired to fashion it. He had to create evil in order to teach us His righteous character. He has taught those who sought Him on His terms His righteousness, and He molded His character in them. His character had to be a choice and a hunger and a thirst on our part. It was not our Elohim's purpose to bring everyone into His family that He has been building. This life here on earth in the flesh that He gave to us is a testing and a proving ground. And He has allowed for mankind to go their own way and to do their own thing while He called out those who would hearken to Him and desire to become as He is. He placed a missing link in man's basic programming that only an image of a deity could fill, and then He gave us choices to choose from to fill this gap. Only one of these choices was Him, though. He put Satan in here to set up false images of Him, but He also gave us His creation to testify to His righteousness if we chose to hunger and thirst for His thoughts to become our thoughts. And He called those to Him who have hungered and thirsted for His righteousness, and these have become His firstfruits that will soon make up His temple. And now He has finished building His temple, and He is moving on with the building of another harvest into His family. His truth is being restored to begin to accomplish this. This past over a year now, He has sent me to the world to restore His truth as part of this process. He has sent me to testify to what is true, and the rejection of the truth that He has sent me to bear witness to bears witness that nearly all of man does not want His truth. This witness was sent to show why He is sending His wrath. Most of you love your false images of Him instead of loving His righteousness. Is it possible that He could send forth His end-time messenger of the covenant with an irrefutable resume that He had recorded in His word that proves that He had sent Him and that what this servant spoke would be rejected? It is not only possible, it is a reality because it has happened. And it has been this way from the beginning. It started in the garden with Adam and Eve rejecting His instructions. They chose to hearken to the voice of the enemy who bears the image of rebellion to His word instead. Jeremiah 7, verse 25, "Since the day that your fathers came forth out of the land of Egypt to this day, I have sent forth all of my servants the prophets, rising up early in the day when I sent them." He sent His servants whom He raised up to those whom He had set aside to become His people if they would hearken to Him. And His servants the prophets continue to speak in His word that endures forever to this day. Yet just like back then, almost none of you will hearken to what they spoke, nor will you hearken to what His end-time messenger, the covenant, is speaking at this time. The reference here and in other places to the prophets rising up early is a prophetic reference to His servants being sent ahead of time to warn Israel before He sent His calamity upon them. This is also a prophecy that He would send me to cry out His warning to Israel ahead of time before the day of His affliction was sent upon them. A prophesied time of calamity. He tells His secrets to His servants, the prophets, and He sends them to those He is calling to be His people. But just like back then, so few have hearkened to His servants whom He has sent. The blasphemous religion of Christianity that the scattered descendants of Israel are in captivity to carry His words that He spoke through His prophets with you in your Bibles. You even claim that you believe these writings, but you will not hearken to them. So surely you will not hearken to whom He has sent now either. And you have not. Verse 26, "Yet they would not hearken to me, nor incline their ear, but they hardened their neck and did worse than their fathers. Therefore you shall speak all of these words to them, but they will not hearken to you. You shall also cry out to them, but they will not answer you. Could the descendants of Israel be this stiff-necked even though they have all of these warnings recorded in what they call their Bibles? Could they have his word available to them like this and still reject it? Is this possible? Indeed, and the witness that he has sent me with has testified to this. It is hard to believe that it is possible that he could put it in your hearts to know that we are in the end times like he has, and show you all of the signs of the times that he has sent forth, and that you still will not fear him to hearken to what his word and his servant says that you must do. His word says that you must return to his Torah with the statutes and judgments in the last days. Why do you refuse his word when you say that you believe it? He sent his son to testify to his word, but instead of believing him and following him like you were commanded to, you chose to follow a wolf in sheep's clothing who took you away from obeying our Elohim. And this was allowed to happen. It was not only allowed to happen, it was prophesied to happen. It was allowed to happen because he was not seeking such hearts to become part of his eternal family. This testing and proving ground that he set up weeded out the tares just like it was designed to do. You would not hearken to the warnings because you had no fear of our Elohim in your rebellious hearts. Once again, he has risen up one of his servants early, as was prophesied to happen, to cry out to you, but you have not hearkened. His word says that he was going to pluck one out of the fire in the last days and send him to you with the identical cry that I have been sent with. Is it possible that you can read his words that testify that he has sent me and that you still will not hearken? According to verse 27 here, it is not only possible, it was prophesied here and in other places to happen. What will it take to get you to hearken to him, since his word obviously has no place in your uncircumcised hearts? 2 Chronicles, we read, chapter 36, moreover, all the chiefs of the priests and the people transgressed in falsehood after all of the abominations of the heathen, and they polluted Yahweh's house, which he had consecrated in Jerusalem. And Yahweh Elohim of our fathers sent to you his messengers, rising up early he sent them, because he had compassion on his people and on his dwelling place. But they mocked Elohim's messengers and despised his words and mistreated his prophets until Yahweh's wrath arose against his people, until there was no healing. It seems that it has most always taken his wrath to get people to hearken to him. And the witness that I have been sent with testifies to this still being the case in the days that we live in today. Nothing has changed. The preachers and the scattered children of Israel continue to not hearken to his servants, the prophets, and they profane and pollute his sanctuary. Israel is that which he set apart to build his temple from. The false shepherds teach their flocks falsehood, and there is no truth and there is no knowledge of Yahweh Elohim's righteousness in their lands in which they have been scattered to. Jerusalem in these prophecies is referring to that which he consecrated or set apart to become his people. Yeshua said in Matthew 23, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, you kill the prophets and stone them which are sent to you. How often he would have gathered your children as a hen gathers her brood under her wings, and you would not hearken. He has sent his servants, the prophets, to gather the children of Jerusalem to become his children over and over again, but most have not hearkened. How is it possible that you can say that you believe his word, yet you will not hearken to what it says to do? Why not just be honest with yourselves and admit that you do not believe his word? Why not acknowledge that his word has no place in your rebellious hearts? You say that you love the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, but you do not. Your beliefs are divided and they are full of hypocrisy. They are divided between two opinions of him. On one hand, you say that he is righteous, but then you scorn and revile and reject his righteousness. You say that you believe his word, but then you do not trust him and live it and do it. You say that you are cleansed by his son's blood, but you reject the conditions that he taught in order for it to be applied on your behalf. You're a bunch of liars and hypocrites. Is it possible that I am the one who has it wrong? If it is, then his word is wrong, because I stand in agreement with his word. His word testifies that he has sent me. Does it do this of you? His word testifies that he was going to send one to speak the very same things that I'm speaking to you. So if I'm not this servant, then his word that you say that you believe in is wrong. But what I speak will not matter to most of you without the calamity being sent to prick your ears anyway. It will not matter because his word has no place in your rebellious, stiff-necked hearts. You can say that it does all that you want, but you lie to yourselves, and you live and worship in vain hypocrisy. If his word did have a place in your heart and you did believe it, then you would hearken to what I have spoken. You would hearken to his Ezekiel 24 sign that I've brought forth. And he says it's a promise from him. And when this sign comes forward, it's from him. You would know that he has sent me because you would believe what his word says on the subject. You would flee Babylon. You would denounce the abomination of desolation, and you would offer up to Yahweh Elohim the offering in righteousness that he has called for you to lift up to him at this time. But instead, most of you at best sit on the fence and await a sign. You are a wicked and adulterous generation to require after a sign like this. You hold fast to your false doctrines that there needs to be a third temple built first, or to your Saturday or Sunday Sabbaths, or to a host of other rebellions to Yahweh's word. I have been saying that the witness against man is all about the rebellion to his word. I have people who write to me and ask me, how can we believe his word when it was written by man? Our Creator's creation testifies to his righteousness, and his righteousness testifies to the writings of the prophets and to what he has sent me to speak. It testifies to truth. For example, his creation testifies against the blasphemous doctrines that Christianity embraces that give us no purpose for being here. His creation testifies against the writings of the abomination of desolation, Saul of Tarsus, that these doctrines came from, that deny why we are here in the flesh. It testifies against lying. It testifies against adultery. His creation testifies against everything that opposes Yahweh Elohim's righteousness. This starts with understanding that he created us and gave us rule over the plants and the animals and put us here for a purpose. And the purpose is to make us in his image. If you can receive that he is building an eternal family, then his word puts the reason why we are here together with his creation. But even though all of this proves that his word is true, mankind is still without excuse without his word anyway. This is because his creation does testify to his righteousness. Therefore, it testifies against them for rejecting his righteousness. That which is not right does not work. It might work for a season on the surface, but underneath it festers and produces that which does not work and does not bring peace and joy and everlasting relationships in the hearts of men. It breeds rebellion to that which is right in our hearts. We are here to become as our Elohim is, period. And he gave us his word to mold his righteousness in us when we live it. One person asked me how it is fair that he is sending his punishment to the world when so many have not heard? It is more of a matter of a humbling and a correction than a punishment. If it was just a matter of a punishment, he would simply kill everyone, and those who will be punished and purged out are not without excuse anyway, because they rejected his righteousness in their hearts that his creation testifies to. The witness that he has sent me with has proven that with the free will that he had to give us in order to accomplish that which he put us here for, that most will not hearken to him without the calamity. He is sending the calamity in order to humble a people, to get down off of your high horses and to hearken to the reason why he put you here. If you will not, he will remove you from before his face. If you think that you know a better way to tell him how to build his eternal family, you can certainly live that fantasy for a short season longer. This is exactly what nearly all who have ever lived have chosen to think. They know better than the master potter, and they do not want to be his clay. Only a few have chosen to seek him on his terms to become as he is. He let men go their own way as he called out those who hearkened to his call. Many were called, but only a few were chosen, because only a few came to or continued to come to his call to become as he is. Now the first phase of building his family is complete and he is ushering in a new phase that will involve Satan and crew being bound. As I said earlier, Satan and crew were put here to help him build his family during the first phase, and they will be let loose again for a short season to test the latter harvest at the end of the 1,000 years, the great white throne. The point is, we are here to yield to why we were created if we're going to have eternal life rewarded to us. And if you're going to be delivered through what is ahead, you are going to have to yield to why you are here in the flesh. He owes us nothing, yet he offers us everything. Lay siege to what he's offering. Other people write to me and tell me that they do not have to obey his word because they have his Spirit guiding them without obeying him. They have to not believe his word in order to believe this because his word says differently. One person recently acknowledged to me that he does not believe his word because it was written by men, and he told me that he knows without a doubt that it is Yahweh's Spirit that is guiding him. What does he or any of you who make such a claim measure the Spirit that is guiding you with? Do you measure it on your good works? Or maybe you have had a spiritual feeling or something like this, or a collection of spiritual feelings. Or maybe it is because of some changes that you have made in your lives, like you stopped doing drugs or made some other changes that are positive. Don't you think that man can do good deeds on his own merit, or quit drinking or drugs, etc. on their own? Even one of the largest terrorist organizations in the world, Hamas, does many charitable deeds. Does this make them of our Creator? And don't you think that Satan and his crew can have a hand in giving people spiritual feelings? How else did he deceive the whole world? Since this group does not believe his word, I cannot use his word to prove that they are wrong, so I will petition to those of you in this group with common sense. Surely you would have to believe that we are here for a purpose. What is this purpose then? If the purpose is just to learn to love one another without loving our Creator's righteousness, then why are there things like homosexuality here? Why are there things like this here on earth that his creation testifies to as not working, therefore being evil? The homosexual cannot reproduce life, therefore it is not part of that which his creation deems as right. Surely common sense would tell you this. It does not work, therefore it is not of a perfect Creator's righteousness. His creation testifies to this. Did our Creator put homosexuality here so that we would learn to love it and embrace it if it shuts off the life cycle? Or did he put it in our midst so that we would choose to loathe it because it does not work? Which does his creation testify to? Did he give us hormones that could cause us to commit adultery so that we would learn to love the adulterer or adulteress and embrace them? Well, what does his creation testify to? Doesn't adultery cause broken families and broken hearts? Doesn't it cause pain and suffering and fatherless or motherless children? Should we love the liar and embrace him or her when lies cause so much hurt and distrust and destroy relationships? Should we embrace the greedy coveters when there are so many starving people in the world and so many homeless? I could go on and on with other examples like this, like diseases and even death itself, and what this temporary and fragile life that we are given in the flesh is to teach us. Evil was put here for a reason, and the reason was to teach those who want our Elohim's righteousness to loathe that which opposes his righteousness, and to loathe that which causes what it causes. Should we embrace those in the world who do not want our Creator's righteousness? Or should we desire for his will to be done on earth as it is in heaven, therefore desire for that which opposes his will to be purged out? Is it possible that those of you who embrace the world as it is could be this willfully defiant against his righteousness that his word testifies to? Obviously the answer is yes. Is it possible that there could be so much rebellion to his righteousness in the world? Obviously the answer is yes. Is it possible that there could be so much rebellion to his word from people who claim that they believe it and claim that they obey it? Obviously the answer is yes. Is it possible that it is going to take a time of great calamity just to get people to come down off of their high horses and to hearken to their Creator? Obviously the answer is yes. I started off this video saying, is it possible that nearly all who have ever lived could have rejected the reason why they were created? Is it possible that most have been in disagreement with why they were created? It is not only possible, it is a reality.